Sarah, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me.
I should say Happy New Year because you haven't been on this year yet.
I haven't been on this year. Thank you, and Happy New Year to you too.
And you are in the studio on your launch day. I feel like we should have streamers, balloons.
I know.
Happy launch day.
Today's the day. It's publication day for the Gut Repair Plan. So incredibly proud of this book. This book actually started for me, I reckon, 30 years ago when I started thinking about my gut right back then. And when I wrote this book a year ago, and I actually there was just so many memories flooding about, everything about the gut. The gut is fascinating, and it was really incredible to write about it.
We love the gut, and we always want to know, how do we improve our gut health?
Yes.
Let's talk about food-specific ways.
Okay, so I'm going to just start by saying the gut loves diversity. So one of the first things that you can do for your gut is you can make sure, and this is a little thing that I give my patients to do as well, if you can, over the course of 7 days, if you can eat 30 different types of fruit or vegetables, you are going to be nourishing all the gut bacteria. They love diversity. When I say plants, I'm talking about nuts and seeds as well. So all vegetables, just that diversity, just to keep all of those good colonies of bacteria growing. That is what the gut really loves. So it's also things like your complex carbohydrates, feeding the good bacteria in there. What else? The fermented foods. I always talk about enjoying drinking kombucha as well as kimchi, sauerkraut, tofu, tempeh, miso soups. Hydration, the gut loves hydration from a food perspective, like liquid perspective. Peppermint tea is great for gut too. I always say to people, consider that. It's always good for reducing things like gas and bloating, great for after a meal. Protein as well, but I would more say it's much more plant-based for the gut. Everything you think of. And when you think about diets around the world globally where people have got great gut health, they have a really, they have a very much a plant-based diet.
30 plants and seeds
in a week. It's a challenge.
Okay,
I think it's a challenge.
But that sounds like a lot. And I tried that. I tried actually writing down 1 week last year how many I had.
Yes, and what did you get to?
Well, I was actually surprised that it was actually quite easy.
It's not hard at all when you look at different types of nuts, and then you're looking at all the different types of vegetables, and as well trying to keep that in season too. And all the different types of fruits is actually not that hard to do when you think about it over the course of 7 days. I love that you did that.
I did.
I love it.
I think someone obviously said on this podcast, and I thought, right, I'm going to give that a go. I'm going to keep a list in my phone, and it's even putting like chia seeds on your breakfast.
Correct.
And tiny little things like that.
All those tiny little
add up,
things that you
and
can
it's
do.
quite quick.
Yeah.
I actually think I got to 30 by Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big I eat a lot of plants, but I'm not fastidious about it.
Person who's like, here I am.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. No, it's fascinating, isn't it, that it's actually that easy to do. Now, I do that all the time. Every time I eat, I think, what's my gut bacteria going to think about this? Like, how will my gut feel about this? And then I sort of think, so I make up my lunch, and I'm always like, put a little bit of I love sauerkraut, so my lunch will be a salad, but then there'll be a little corner for some sauerkraut there, and then I think about the liquids I'm drinking and how that impacts my gut, or even things like how things are negatively impact my gut. Like I'll go out to a restaurant, I might have alcohol, and I'll go home and I think, maybe I'll take some probiotics right now, right? Because I just think, what have I done to my gut tonight? And I think,
but you had a good time.
Of course.
Yes.
I don't do that all the time, but when I do it, I make sure it's fun.
You almost need to give your gut a name.
I know. I do actually talk to I do sit there and think,
love this,
Yeah, no, I do. And I sort of think just different things like so one of the things I love about, another great thing for gut health is exercise. So people forget, they think about food only. So exercise, like whenever I go for big runs sometimes, I think, so Akkermansia is one of those amazing gut bacteria that you can actually grow a lot of if you're a regular exerciser, which helps you keep it a stable weight. So one thing, and every time I go for a big run, I think, I wonder how many more Akkermansia I'm producing in this run right now. Because I thought about, because I've been a runner for 30 years, and I've thought, it's all of that running is just produced a great colony. Because I actually did do have a look at my entire microbiome, and I did this amazing GI map test. And
Was that through the poop?
Yes.
Yeah. I have done one of those.
It's not that glamorous. I know it's a bit disgusting, but it's
But
good.
I think it's worth doing.
I think anyone who has any kind of, gastrointestinal symptoms, and one thing I do in clinic now, as soon as people come in, and they'll say, oh, look, I've too much flatulence, or this, or blah, 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 or this, or I've got skin conditions, blah, blah. I say, you need to do the GI map. And it's changed me as a practitioner using these diagnostics. When I looked at my own gut health, I had always diagnosed at the age of 15 like a non-celiac gluten sensitivity, and I actually discovered it was my genetic bacteria.
Oh, there we go.
And then I spoke to all the Greek side of my family, and I was like, who gets constipated here? I asked them once at a lunch, and they all went, we all do. It's a family trait. And I was like, it's all the gut bacteria now. And I thought I had non-celiac gluten sensitivity. So it is so fascinating. And so exercise is another big one too. And obviously, we know things like people who have a lot of IBS, they have anxiety. So it's those kind of interactions too. So taking care of the gut also means getting coping mechanisms in place for things like stress or anxiety, making sure you're doing the right things for that too. So it's all encompassing,
I just want to quickly pick up on something that you wrote about in your book when we're talking about food and gut, and that's polyphenols.
Yes.
I feel like this is...
It's a buzzword.
Yeah,
antioxidants. It's
what
all
are
that
these
one.
and why are they important?
So polyphenols, that we basically find them within plants, and it's a fabulous name for antioxidants. What do antioxidants do? They lower our risk of disease, lower inflammation. They're incredible. So little things like cacao, tea, wine as well, you'll find it in. And, I know it's a buzzword, but they do play a really important role in lowering our risk of disease, fighting those free radicals, all that cellular damage, and like putting us on a trajectory to health and wellness. So, yes.
That's what we all want. Now, just quickly before we go, give us something that we should do right now to improve our gut health.
Go and have a glass of water.
That's easy.
It's an easy one. Hydration is really good. Maybe I think a little thing we could do is encourage people to do their list of 30. See if they're doing that. Maybe look at introducing. Now you've said one thing, and I'm off on a tangent. Maybe looking at what probiotic-rich foods that they could add to their diet throughout the course of the week. Little things like that. Baby steps. Maybe just thinking this week I'm going to add sauerkraut to my lunch every day, or have a glass of kombucha. Maybe what exercise you're doing. But I always say the gut loves hydration.
But I think your approach, and I've probably, when I tried the 30 plants, is you think about your gut first when it comes to health. Like so often we focus on, what does my skin look like, or how am I feeling, which are important.
Correct.
But if we feed the gut,
it's all good.
It's the rock.
Well, Hippocrates knew in 500 BC, that wonderful Greek physician, he said all disease stems from the gut. We've known it. It is the core of our health. And one of the first things, if someone comes in to see me at the clinic and they've got eczema or dermatitis, I'll just say, and they'll say, what are you doing to treat that? Oh, I've got topical creams from the GP. I'm like, no, that's fine. You can do your topical creams. But I need to work on your gut. Right now, you've got some gut inflammation going on right there, and it's travelling through to your skin. So it is the core. Like people go, how do you know I've got, I'll look at their skin and I go, okay, have you got a bit of IBS or anything? Yeah, how did you know? Because your skin's like that. You can just see it straight away. It's one of those big things. People will,
Well done on the new book, and
thank you
for
very much
coming on Healthy-ish.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.